I don't really drink coffee. I'm a latte guy, guys. If we're wondering, I'm really into lattes now because I'm a basic B. But anyways, enough.
Are you talking to yourself, or are we actually
No, we're live right now. Yeah.
Are we really?
we're live right now.
Had no idea. Weird.
So enough about me. It's Tech Tuesday, guys, and we're going to be talking about spindles, hubs, and what to fix when they go wrong. But in order to do that, we've got to go over and talk to Justin Smith.
So yeah, we're going to get to that. And you know what? Welcome back to another Tech Tuesday. Mitch.
Howdy.
Welcome back to another Tech Tuesday. I think we're doing pretty good. But having gone to lunch with Steve today, I found out some really new, interesting stuff. I really, really did.
Let's hear it.
As Steve comes over here towards the race car because
behind
Steve is a mess, and we're trying not to show that.
You're not
part.
wrong. Yeah, we can't show any of that stuff.
Somebody offered you a beer that tasted like Christmas today, and you
Seasick
said what?
Crocodile. I said absolutely not. I hate Christmas. that was the exact.
Who the hell hates Christmas, bro?
I don't like it. Not a fan. Never been a fan. I love the Grinch. I love Ebenezer Scrooge. So
you're
the
Grinch and Scrooge. I never would have thought that.
Bah humbug.
Because you and Lauren are decorating the whole shop.
See, I don't do that for me though. I do that for her. Oh. It's not about me during this time of year, Justin. It is about everybody else in the world.
You hate Christmas and still do all the Christmas stuff.
I do. I'm a giver. I also like to receive, but I am a giver.
So, you don't like the taste of Christmas as well as Christmas, because clearly you turned down the Christmas beer.
I can't stand cinnamon and like pumpkin spice, everything. I'm out too on that. I love Halloween though, but I'm out on pumpkin.
This is all news to me. I mean, I've known you for so many years and I have not known this. You've hidden it really well.
I don't know. Mitch knows about that. Mitch knows I don't like Christmas.
How long have you known this?
Probably since I've known him.
Really?
Yeah.
God, why am I the last to know? I'm so out of this.
It's all right. I still love you.
I am so. I'm gonna mess with you all Christmas.
All good. All good.
Eggnog and everything you have.
Nope.
Yes.
Nope.
I'll help you with that.
Yes.
We'll just terrorize him with Christmas.
You guys.
So if you guys want to chime in on ways we can mess with Steve and Christmas themed Screw with Steve, I'm thinking that might be another feed that we do.
That's so great.
Thursday.
Can't wait, guys.
All right. Back to our subject. We're going to talk about. We might have to actually figure out what the definitions of these parts are, because there's a lot of
We're having some good
about
conversation.
what things are actually called. But in my mind, we're going to talk about hubs, spindles, spindle bearing, hub bearing, drive flange, all of those areas inside UTVs as far as failures are concerned. The reason we're talking about it is because the Mint 400 was last weekend, and a lot of people had failures in those particular spots. And we have seen a lot of this already 2 years ago in our original race car, where we failed a ton of that stuff and had to go through the whole process of dominoes. Next week is Slink to figure out what's going to work. Probably because our car was really, really, really heavy, and I drive like a dick. So we broke a lot of parts before everybody's breaking them now, I guess. But we're going to share what we learned. How's that? First, what is this stuff called? I'm thinking you come over here. Well, on the workbench, you guys, we've got some stuff lined out, and what we're going to call them, I don't know. You guys can chime in and tell us what a lot of this stuff is supposed to be called. Here's what I think, in my mind. That, to me, that's a spindle. Here's why that's a spindle. Because what if it's a two-wheel drive, fabricated unit, like on a sand car, and it's got a bearing in it, or in a race car, a Class 10 or a truck? I guarantee you this is called a spindle in any of those. But a lot of people call these hubs, right? Or bearing hub. I don't really care which one it is. To me, spindle. Next. See, I call that a hub. If that's a spindle, to me, that's a hub. But a lot of people call it drive flange. What do you call it, Steve?
A drive flange is what I call it.
You call that drive flange too?
Yeah, and then we didn't have an argument, but we had the discussion because he calls it a spindle, and I said, well, then what do you call this bearing in here? And he said a hub bearing. I said, correct, it's not a spindle bearing, so I don't really know what it's called. I call it a hub.
It's a hub bearing because the hub is sliding inside the bearing.
Slides inside of it. So yeah, I don't know.
That's the reason why that's a hub to me.
It's crazy.
It's a hubbed knuckle.
Hub
knuckle.
Okay, so I can get on board with this, that being a knuckle. I'm good with knuckle, but I'm also good with spindle. So spindle, knuckle, spindle.
It's a moose knuckle. We'll go with that.
Moose knuckle. spunkle.
Ooh,
I don't know.
let's not do that.
So who knows what all this stuff is called, right? But we do know that inside of them is a bearing, where we agree with that.
That is
whether
a
it's
fact.
a spindle bearing or a hub bearing or a knuckle bearing. I've never heard of knuckle bearing.
A knuckle bearing. you knuckle bearing.
Yeah, that dingleberry-ish, something like that. But here is what most people find when it comes to failures here. So I'm going to drop a stock dry flange into a stock hub or spindle. And what happens a lot is you see the aftermath. And once a few things have failed here, then what ends up happening is you've got a brake caliper still in place. You've got a rotor that's completely folded up inside the caliper. And this drive flange has left the building. And the only thing left is this hub or spindle sitting either bolted to the upper or lower control arm, or typically in the rear is the first one to fail because of horsepower and weight. In the rear, you've got this thing still bolted to the arm, but it's sitting in the dirt and it's been drug a couple 100,000 feet without having a wheel and tire attached to it anymore. What breaks? Inside, specifically on a Can-Am, and this is not just Can-Am that has this problem. Also, Polaris has this problem. I'm going to qualify that. If you run your UTV in stock form and you have accessories and you drive like everybody else, probably never going to fail these parts. But you put a ton of horsepower to it, drive like a dick, or you race it, or you put a ton of weight on it, then you're going to have problems. And typically what happens, if you look really close here, the thickness of this drive flange insert that's also splined is fairly thin. All of the weight, here's a bearing that's pressed in there, right? Let's put that on. All of the weight of the vehicle, this is a tight fit. Normally this is going to go all the way on, right? All the way, there we go. All the weight of the vehicle is now sitting right there where my finger is. Can you see up inside there okay? Mm-hmm. This corner sees everything. The load vertically when you land, the load, the twist loads that come with horsepower as this goes and lands like that. The side loads when you drive the rear, slide the rear into a berm, bam, and tries to fold it underneath. All of those loads go right there to that corner. It's kind of amazing that it lasts as long as it does. This is fairly thin, but that spot in this corner is what fails. Now, when this cracks or breaks first, there's an axle through here. It's got a nut on it. This whole thing stays in place. It's just busted. And now it has a little bit of wobble to it. And that wobble kicks the pads off the caliper, and all of a sudden you get a spongy pedal when you go for the brakes, and you have to double foot it or pump it twice to get the brakes to work. That's a sign that you've got something loosening up in the back. Most of the time, bearing is going, and it's allowing this to move because the bearing has failed. But when you start to fail the drive flange, then this is basically a two-piece unit, and it moves. You see it in the brake pedal first, and then it loosens up the axle nut. That axle nut loosens up. As soon as it's loose, this whole thing exits the vehicle with your tire connected to it, and all you see is the spindle, the hub, and an axle sticking out of it, and maybe even a broken off snub end or the threaded end of the axle is left too, because this is wobbled around and broke it off, and you wonder what happened. Well, it is either the bearing or drive flange. Now, there's only a couple of fixes. Before I get into the fixes, Can-Am, this is where your issue is. On a Polaris, which is not this one, this is also a Can-Am drive flange, but on a Polaris, this is a little bit thicker in this area right here because of the bearing design. And so this typically isn't a break-off point, but what is on a Polaris is it cracks around the studs all the way around here. Cracks all here. And when that cracks into two pieces, this center one stays on, the outside one comes off. The same thing happens. Wheel and tire exits the vehicle. But you still have a hub and an axle nut in place, typically with a Polaris. So, what's the fix? Well, the fix is trying to get this thicker. Well, how do you get this whole thing thicker in the thinnest spot on the dry flange? The only way to go bigger here is to go with a bigger diameter bearing. So, I'm not sure if you guys can see, but the diameter of this hole of the stock bearing and the diameter of this hole in a aftermarket bearing in a ZRP hub is much larger in diameter. Actually, let me do this. Can you see that accurately? So the stock bearing is much smaller in diameter than the big one on the outside. So what that allows you to do, see how the stock one fits on the stock bearing? What it allows you to do is go to a thicker dry flange. See how much thicker that wall thickness is of the inserted portion? Not even close to going through the center of that bearing. That wall thickness is stronger, and that wall thickness is enough to not break off in race applications or heavy accessories, heavy weight, heavy right foot, heavy whiskey throttle due to too many beers at lunch. All of those things get cured by going to a thicker assembly right there. Who makes these parts? Well, in Can-Am, you've got an option for ZRP, which is what we run on our race car. A big bearing diameter option for ZRP in their hubs they offer with a dry flange with a thicker assembly flange or an insert flange. And in Can-Am, or a Polaris, you've also got ZRP for an option for you there. Now, their dry flange in a 4340 dry flange, we would suggest heat treating that to make it even stronger would be the catch-all for any Polaris stuff. Steve, what do you got, Grinch?
It says, I know you guys run stock brakes with bigger rotors. Where do you guys get the rotors from?
So the rotors that we get are from Streamline, Streamline Brakes. Contact them. They've got them in stock. Highly recommended. Best thing we've ever run. And we did some actually brake testing not too long ago, and we found a lot of 6-piston caliper stuff. Doesn't stop nearly as good as the factory stuff does. And if you just are going to run the diameter of the tire up and run the horsepower up, then diameter of the rotor is the way to go and keep everything else stock. One other thing that we have done in ours is run more hard brake line inside the car instead of all the soft stuff, all the soft brake line that's factory. And that really gives you a ton of pedal feel, and it will stop even better with that. So Streamline for rotors. Mitch.
Chuck67 Firebird wants to know, does the YXZ have this problem?
Well, no, the YXZ doesn't have this problem because nobody races YXZs in off-road.
YXZs have a whole bunch of other problems.
So if anyone raced YXZs competitively in off-road, then we would probably see a lot of other things that break. But since nobody runs them, no. YXZs are super fast in short course racing, but there's no stresses on the hubs in short course racing, not like off-road. And YXZs are extremely fast in drag racing. Obviously, Packard and other guys have shown they can make 800 horsepower out of those things pretty reliably. The only things they've found have been clutches, transmissions, front and rear diffs are the weak spots in those. So can't tell you on the hub side of things, man, because not enough of them out there running hard in desert applications, which typically take out hubs. I'm sorry, I love having the opportunity for someone to give me a chance to talk about a YXZ. It is amazing.
It's pretty good.
So the Grinch, I would imagine that if Santa Claus is in a Polaris, or if his sleigh is a Polaris or a Can-Am, then the Grinch's sleigh would be a YXZ, right, Steve?
That is incorrect, sir.
What would your sleigh be?
My sleigh would probably
Remember, you're Grinch.
Yeah, I know. So I can't have anything cool then. So it'd probably be a Rhino, an old school Rhino.
Too slow to catch everybody else. Yeah. Santa's gonna beat you for sure. Mitch, what do you got?
Daniel wants to know, how do you and can you heat treat the drive flange?
Absolutely. We heat treat all of our drive flanges. Depends on the material that you're using for dry flange, but if it's aftermarket, then it's going to be 4130, it's going to be 4340, more than likely those two materials, in which case you can heat treat them very easily by taking them to your local heat treater. I would suggest that you heat treat them to a 48 Rockwell. That would be the number you want to run. It's not too brittle, not too soft, sort of like Goldilocks, another story that Steve probably hates.
Goldilocks? No, I like Goldilocks.
Really?
Cool.
What do you like about Goldilocks?
I'm trying to think, which one's Goldilocks now that you just threw me off?
That's not too hot, not too cold. You know, huff and puff, blow your house down.
Yeah. Goldilocks is cool. I don't mind that with the big bad wolf.
That's it?
Yeah.
Are you the wolf or are you Goldilocks?
I mean, I'm Goldilocks for sure.
Mitch, do you have any questions on any of this hub stuff? Since this was your first race and you broke no hubs.
We broke nothing.
That's right.
Well,
the Mint was your, let me back that up. The Mint's your first race.
Yeah.
And you guys killed it. Finished 5th.
Thank you. It was super fun.
In that car right behind you, which is not even a race car. That is a pre-runner with a window net.
That was my home for 7.5 hours. It was amazing.
What did you learn in 7.5 hours that you normally never have thought you would know?
I learned how to pee. That was the biggest one. No, obviously still a lot to learn. I mean, first time reading a GPS, first time having the driver's hands and my hands basically telling him where to go. So reading a GPS was gnarly, figuring that all out, figuring out the pace, figuring out the dust.
Dust is a bitch.
Dust is gnarly. That's like no joke. Took our time. We went in and said we're gonna just kind of feel it out, run our race, and we're gonna finish this thing. And it was kind of cool because we did exactly that, and we somehow ended up in 5th place. So
yeah,
we'll take that on top of it. But
for other people that are doing it for the first time or want to go and do it the first time, what would you say as a navigator that they should prepare for that they've never known?
Don't overthink it. I would say that was my number one thing. I went in like thinking I'm gonna do everything amazing, everything right. You're gonna make mistakes, understand that, just kind of relax, breathe. Make sure your driver is comfortable, make sure that they know where they're going, and just have fun with it too. I think that's another big one. But I studied a GPS for a couple nights before we went out just so I can kind of understand it in case we had a problem with it. But other than that, it was just go have fun, run your race, enjoy it, and see what happens.
Steve, to answer your question, yes, we are in a brand new shop. We did move the race shop.
Oh my bad, did I mime that to you?
Yeah, you did, thank
you. Sorry.
The race shop has moved. It's moved across the parking lot. So yes, in a new shop, if you guys want to look around, that's cool. But
only this way.
Yeah, that way. But the new race shop is also a little larger when it comes to inventory. So if you guys take a look to the right, you'll see there's about 10,000 square feet of pallet racking and other things and phone centers and all kinds of stuff. So this will be the new home when we do videos over here. If you guys have any questions about that, then fire away, we'll answer. The old shop is CNC expansion, more machines going into that other shop. So thanks for asking, Steve.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
I do have a statement though for Mitchie. I think it's amazing that Mitchie and Ernie did their first race. They finished it and completed it. They already have a better record than Matt Burke's last 5 years just in one race. I find that incredible that you guys can retire tomorrow and
you smoke Matt.
And you
Sorry,
Matt. Sorry, buddy.
Poking you right now.
Damn, shots fired.
Mitch, what do you got for a question, Ben?
I have like 6 questions about the new Pro R video and when it is coming out.
Okay, you guys, so here's the deal with the Pro R video. We jammed out there, we videoed that thing, we filmed, did all the editing right away, and then Polaris needs to approve accuracy. And we sent the video edited within a few days to them, but that was also Thanksgiving. So all the media department and everybody that had to approve it was out for a week, and that pushed it all off. We got some things they wanted us to change so that we don't tell you. For instance, we said that the interior of the Pro R is all new and bigger and badass. Well, it feels bigger and it is badass, but it's not completely new, and they wanted us to change that. Little things like that. Josh is re-editing the video right now. Hopefully by the end of this week, we will have it out and you will dig some of the details that we got into on that car. I'm impressed. You're going to like it. Steve.
A couple questions on what coating is on this floor.
So this is an epoxy coating, just like any other epoxy, with the exception of it being about 10 times harder than the normal epoxy that you get inside your garage tip epoxy coatings. So we can drop a lot more on this and not scratch it up. That's all I can tell you. I don't know the exact code. If you want to email us, I'll give you the company that did it and you can talk to them about it. It's not cheap, I'll tell you that. But it looks great.
Looks amazing.
Yeah, black on black.
Cryo heat plugged in. Cryo heat can stress relieve them for more sheer strength. Sorry,
You know what?
Twice.
Yes. Cryo can knock it out of the park. If you guys want to send everything over to Cryo, they're going to do a great job. And freezing components aligns molecules and pulls stress out of parts and makes them last longer. There you go, Cryo ad. Ta-da.
J Hupp said, ZRP makes some sick parts. Do you guys do any modifications or do you just bolt them on?
We pretty much pull the parts out of the box and put them on with two exceptions. We heat treat the drive flange because we prefer to. Also, we change the studs out to a PRI, Racing Products. Damn it. PRP. No. Damn. RPI. Ta-da. We change them to an RPI stud, which is a high carbon steel stud as opposed to a stainless steel stud. Those are the only two things we change. Everything else we run right out of the box.
I threw that one to you, just so you know. It was all up there.
Yes,
I threw it up there.
Appreciate that, you Christmas hater.
You son of a gun. We got a lot of love on here, Justin. Somebody did say I need to have a cranberry sauce enema because I'm such a Christmas hater.
That might. Do you think cranberry sauce in your anus would convert you?
No.
You don't think
I don't
so?
know. It might taste good, but
Would you like to try? I think this could be a good episode. I might throw a signed dollar bill in there if you did it.
I already got 4, so
You're the only one with any.
okay. Yeah, maybe I will. Maybe
Would you go
I will.
for a fifth? A little cranberry
sauce in my beehole.
anus. Yes.
In my anus. We'll have to talk specifics. But there's somebody that said they can't wait.
Would it be
suspension
pulp
done in
or
Glamis.
no pulp? Is it cranberry juice or is it cranberry sauce?
He said it's cranberry sauce enema, so that's some thick stuff.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
Just a jelly-filled donut.
I'm
That's
sorry, I
disgusting.
interrupted. What'd you say?
No, just a guy, Rodney Maderios said, can't wait to have my suspension done at Glamis in a couple of weeks. We can't wait either. We'll see you there.
Yes. After you get your suspension done, come back later. You can party with Steve. Trust me.
Cranberry sauce all around.
Cranberry sauce for you. Might be the entrance, the payment to get in to the party.
Yeah.
Cranberry sauce.
Or eggnog.
Combination.
Whoa!
You could get a contact high from eggnog in the anus. Can you say eggnog in the anus 5 times fast?
Eggnog in the anus, eggnog in the anus, eggnog in the anus, eggnog in the anus, eggnog in the anus.
He did it! Damn! All right, that's pretty good. I can't do that.
He said he'll skip the cranberry sauce, Justin.
Okay,
He doesn't
well,
want-
damn.
All right, fine. Just come by and say hi.
Mitch.
Well, dang.
Yeah.
Darn.
Mitch, what do you got, man?
Max Russ wants to know, will you guys be out at the Hammers this year?
So we are not going to be racing the Hammers. We are in the middle of trying to get a booth at the Hammers. We don't want to go if we can't have a booth right in the middle of Hammertown where everybody else is at. They're working on it. Let's see what they have to say. We're supposed to hear in another week. If we're there, we're going to go in a big way. We'll have the semi out there, and we have a new hospitality semi that you guys will have an unveiling in the next 2 weeks. It's not the one that you've seen before that we work out of. This one is actually just for customers. So it will have a full customer experience inside of it, just about a dance floor. So if you feel, feeling froggy after your cranberry sauce,
I'll be in there.
You could be
cutting it
dancing
up.
inside the semi that we'll have there if we get a spot. So my answer is don't know yet. Waiting on King of the Hammers guys to let us know. We'll see. Mitch?
Shop Shelf Elf that Steve is 100% responsible for.
Oh, that's actually pretty good.
Oh, I'm elf on the shelf at the shop?
Or you could be responsible
Shop
for elf
shelf.
on the shelf.
Oh,
Shop
okay.
shelf elf.
Shop shelf. Okay, we can make
I
that
like
happen.
that.
I've already got 2 to have to do at home. All right, I'll do a third one. We'll make it
Did you
happen.
say you had cornhole elves?
Yeah, my wife went all out for these ones. I got like an astronaut outfit for one of my sons, my daughter. They were playing the match game this morning.
And 2 elves playing cornhole on a shelf?
Yeah, but they're gonna watch this later. So they're Santa's little helpers, and they're doing it all on their own.
That's right, playing corn.
Yep, whole.
Excellent, excellent. Beck, they're watching this and we're talking about cranberry sauce?
Nah, whatever. They saw my my video with George and the Dildabeast, so can't be much more. There's no visuals, at least this time.
If you guys have any questions on hubs or drive flanges or spindles or whatever the heck knuckles, you guys want to fill in the blank, fill it in, but ask them really quick. We'll get to them. We'll do a rapid fire of anything that might be left. So hub questions, go for it. Cranberry sauce questions, direct them to Steve's department. That's his only.
I'm out.
Mitch, anything other than cranberry sauce?
Nothing on cranberry sauce and nothing on hubs right now, but a ton of random questions.
Let's do rapid fire and random.
Same thing.
Rob Wick wants to know, what is the current wait time on getting my rig in the shop?
Mitch, you know that.
I don't actually know that. That would be Steve.
Steve,
Month and a half?
does Steve know that? I believe we are
6 weeks?
End of January-ish.
So we are.
We're about
so
six
I
to
think we're
6 to 7 weeks
on
yeah.
6 weeks on mailing your shocks in, and closer to 8 weeks when it comes to dropping your car off.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that range, right?
Yep. I don't know the exact date, but I know it's late to mid January.
When you guys are watching this video a year from now, that might not be the case. Just keep in mind when you're looking at the date of the video, okay? Mitch.
Ryan Bartlett wants to know, are y'all ever going to bring back a spring kit for the Yamaha Viking? Yes, along with a couple of other cool things too. Like
Actually, more Yamahas.
Yep, more Yamaha. The Ranger, possibly Defender.
And you're just working on all that right now.
Yep. It's actually, it's in the works.
Did you get the springs back in stock so you could do the Yamaha, the Wolverine? Can we launch that?
I don't. I'm still waiting for that one thing.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
that'll be out, and then all the Ranger stuff, the Viking stuff.
Why don't you explain to him, not necessarily what we're waiting for, but that it is something that we can't make here, and that's the only reason why it's not out. We've done the testing though.
Yeah. So like as far as the preload nut is concerned.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be basically adjustable. So on those shocks, it's a sealed shock that has, it's a preload adjustment on it, but you spin it to basically add preload to the shock. This is going to be even more adjustable than that. So we're waiting on a couple more of those parts to show up. When we have all of that, we have springs already for it. It'll be released. It's going to be really cool for a lot of Ranger guys, a lot of Defender guys, and it still works for the Viking stuff too. So that is very soon.
Sick.
Yep.
Awesome. Rapid fire, Steve.
Rick Anderson, is there a procedure when hooking up sway bars for things like preload, or just bolt them up? You just bolt them up, man. They're not under any
I'm
tension.
going to add one more thing to that, though.
Just may have to move the car back or forth.
Have it on level ground.
Yep.
Okay. Make sure it's on level ground, driveway, whatever you're on. Make sure it's level. If you have it leaning slightly and you bolt the bar up, then you're going to have links in different lengths, and that's not good. Have it level. You should be able to run the links in the same length. If it is.
The only thing you may have to do, which I tell every customer when they bolt it up, you may have to give it a push or a pull to get the bolt hole to line up. That is it.
Side to side.
Side to side, not front to
lines
back.
up the hole. Side to side for the hole. Thanks. Steve.
Side to side.
That's very
hole.
good advice.
Justin, I do have another one. Mark Wadley said, during the Black Friday sale, the RIS Stage 2 was available online for the 14 Wildcats. When I called in, they told me the only option was a rebuild of those shocks. No tuning and no springs. What's going on with that?
So no RISs were part of the sale. The sale was strictly website-based, website sales. We do not sell RISs on the site. When you go to it, it is something you have to call us to do. You cannot buy an RIS on the site. So RISs never were part of the sale. Any component though, springs, sway bar, links, racks, anything else, limit straps, all of those things are part of the sale. No internal shock work. That is an appointment, phone call thing, not website. Ta-da.
Is Can-Am going to respond to the Pro R, Justin?
I would imagine so. I think that
I would imagine.
I know. I think that typically the manufacturers have been fighting this stuff out for years behind the scenes before you even knew about a Pro R. They've all been working on things for a long time. So you're going to see things from all manufacturers that are all kind of in this genre of big car, big power, big changes coming soon. Mitch, rapid fire.
Any issues with ZRP hubs on specific aftermarket trailing arms?
No. The hubs are all the same. So if there's an issue with a hub on different arms, it's probably an arm issue. Hubs are the same. CNCs don't change. They don't lie. Just saying.
There's a question from Dom Galindo on here, and I have to read it exactly how he wrote it.
Oh, I see.
Is
Yes.
he wearing pants? Are you wearing pants, Justin?
Well, yes.
Ooh.
Yes, I am. If you would like to look a little closer, Dominic. There you go. For your entertainment only. But yeah, I put the Cavs away for the season. They're back in the holster.
They're back in the holster.
You're welcome.
Oh, man.
Mitch, what else you got?
ARP bolts versus aircraft bolts.
Well, they could be one and the same since ARP makes aircraft stuff. RPI makes aircraft stuff. If you look, maybe, you know what I bet he's asking, you know, because you can get aircraft stuff at surplus much cheaper than new, and I would do that all day long. Buy up everything at surplus store, man. There's nothing wrong with it. Doesn't expire. I don't know why the government sends it out, but they do.
What can we do to make the stock hubs stronger / better on X3s?
You know, I was going to go with absolutely nothing. There's nothing you can do, but there is some stuff. Let's go back over here. On a stock hub, see, he said hub. On a stock spindle, there's, you know, weak spots in this. There's a clip that holds this bearing in place. A lot of times they'll pop that clip out and push the bearing out. You can machine the groove in here to run a thicker clip, and I believe that ZRP might offer that. Also, CT Raceworks on the East Coast offers a stock spindle with a clip groove and clip upgrade. That's probably the first thing I would do. I would run this lower bolt in an aircraft bolt, 12 point, or say ARP or RPI bolt. That's something that loosens up. When that loosens up, then this wiggles too much, wallers out the hole. That's about the only thing you do on this. After that, you're basically going straight to a billet hub. It's about the only thing that you're going to get, nothing in the middle. And with a billet hub, then this nut assembly, this threaded stainless steel piece that nuts on, is what's keeping the bearing in instead of a clip. So bigger clip first, then nut. There you go. Not very much. What's that?
Way more better.
Way better, more better, for sure. Okay, last rapid fire.
Hungry is in the house. He said, hi guys, what is your impressions about the X-Travel suspension?
Hungry. We have X-Travel suspension on the pre-runner right here. Funny you should ask.
You know, just as if I was reading it.
You're not. So take a look right here, if you can, video all this area. So this is X-Travel on an X3. We're very impressed with this. The geometry in the system, specifically over in the spindle area, is completely different than factory. It uses a double pivot upper instead of a single upper ball joint. Uses a double pivot lower instead of a single pivot ball joint. And how does that work? Well, all of these are basically links. There's no connected A-arm system. It's like 4 links for the front end. I'll even go one further, if I can reach in, and I will turn this so you guys can see how that works. So show over here real quick. Take a look at that. So that articulation in the spindle, because it's a link system, I'll just skip to the end. What that means is that with X-Travel, there's no load on the tie rod, there's no load on the rack, and there's no load into the steering wheel when you hit sharp bumps, rocks, whoops. So the feedback that normally kicks you is gone. with that geometry. So we're very impressed with it. We're running it on the pre-runner. Mitch just raced it, 0 issues, no power steering failures, and we're probably going to expand that into a whole lot of other things that we're doing.
There's actually a question for me on here for Stoked to Shred wants to know what my thoughts were on the new X-Travel suspension after racing it. And that's honestly probably an Ernie question because he drove the whole thing. So
from the right seat, you weren't able to feel steering.
I couldn't really tell on that side of it, but we can definitely ask his opinion on it and get his feedback since he was driving it and how his hands felt the whole race, if he got tired or anything like that.
I talked to him about it, and he thought it was quite impressive. But he also hasn't raced a stock steering unit in a race yet, so he couldn't tell you how bad those can get when they get hot. So he only knows the good side right now.
There was a lot of new things that happened all at once, so it was hard to focus on.
Like you and your privates having a discussion about how to pee after 2 hours of not.
Yep. Yeah. That was rough.
That's a pretty fun discussion.
We got her done.
Steve.
Yes.
How about 2 more questions and we're out?
Do you know if the Pro R will be able to race in the rally class?
No, they have made a new class just for the Pro R to go into. I forget the name of it, but it's like Pro Open, I think might be the name for Best in the Desert, but it's not rally. Mitch.
To grease or not to grease the hub bearings on an X3?
Not grease hub bearings on an X3. Never grease hub bearings on an X3. On a Polaris, 4 to 6 grease pumps max, no more than that. On an X3, no, don't do it. We've tested it, don't do it.
Loose Cannon 007. Where do you get the X-Travel suspension? Is it a kit?
So, X-Travel owns the design, and at this moment, and don't quote me, because I could be wrong, but I believe they have prototypes out right now. What's going to happen is that Geyser, Lone Star, Cognito can have a X-Travel option in their suspension systems, and they will be making versions of it, of X-Travel, in their kits. That's what's probably coming very soon. Maybe contact X-Travel to make sure, but I don't think that they're selling anything direct right now. I know they're not producing hundreds of kits. Cool? All right, enough of that. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit about hubs, spindles, dry flanges, and knuckles. And hopefully if you've had problems with these parts, we helped you to get the direction that you need to get so you don't break anything, okay? So finish races. Don't shortcut races like we have in the past, all right? Steve, Mr. Grinch, take us out of here with a Christmas the Christmas spirit, sir.
All right, guys, if you're looking to buy anything from our website, please visit www.shocktherapyusa.com or call into the shop 623-217-4959.